Hello and welcome. Hi,
Hello.
Klaus.
Hello, Robert.
Hi, audience. Yeah. Welcome to episode 32. And today it's about settings, controls, everything you can set up in ReluxDesktop. So maybe a bit more deeper, more for the professional users, that you can have an insight what you can set to everything.
Yes. Guess also for beginners to give you an idea what is possible in ReluxDesktop to customize the program for your own needs, and we hope it will be interesting for you.
It will be. We have to check the watch because we spent in Germany in German language way too long for having this because it's a lot of stuff we can show you in the settings. It's not. We try to focus more on the deep settings, so not on the obvious stuff. So more deeper down in the in advanced settings that you get an overview of what is possible to change. Yeah, and let's jump directly in it. I just need to close this here and I open up an fresh desktop and starting sharing my screen that you can see what we can see, and it's still starting, and here we are. So this is the normal ReluxDesktop, and here we jump into a room that we have some meat on the bone to show you something. And the first thing I'm going to show you is something which we have obviously in the control section of the ribbon. We have here on top the ribbon element. This is something for controls. This is since, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years in this style. Before there was a lot of tiny icons, and yes, it's a bit bound to what you can see in Autodesk, AutoCAD, and also what you see in Office applications, that you have these ribbon elements. And like in AutoCAD, we have here a lot of options. You can change it and tweak it and twist it in the way you want to have it. Starting with this tiny, small, quick access tool. In this quick access tool, you can set here something, obviously, like you want to have a new, open, and so on, just with small text. But you can do more with here with the more commands. And here you have in small menu where you can set up this 4 buttons you see here in Rarity. You can set any command, so really a lot of commands you can set to it. You can enhance it with some special thing. For example, I always want to have something for putting luminars directly. I don't want to go into products and I have to put luminars a lot into my scenes. So I go here to products, and for example, have here this tool for place a new luminar. I add this and add this a bit more in another order. I also want to have a separator for this, that we have a small separation line in this menu. And just to show what is possible, I also put in command to make a rectangle arrangement. This is something which I also need a lot, and also in the last position, just to show what is possible. It's also possible to move this quick access bar to below the ribbon, just with this tick here. And this happens, you have here now a bit like old school AutoCAD, also the option to put here a lot of tiny icons back in the scene with separators. And here you can, with one click, just have a luminar selected and placed. And also if you're going to have, if you want to have a rectangle arrangement, you can also click here to rectangle. Usually it works, sometimes it works, sometimes not. Demonstration effects, now it works, and have this feature directly without right-clicking on the product and so on, which is the more traditional way. Yeah, so this is something you can do here on the quick access. It's also possible here to go in and change the positions again. And if you really messed up and wants to change it back as it was at the beginning, here's a reset button, and now everything is done and it's like the default situation. Another option is to change this ribbon itself. With a right click, you can also say customize the ribbon. Yes, customize the ribbon in the setting, and here you can create own ribbon tabs. Simple with new tab, and you have a new tab. You can rename your tab to whatever, my tab or my workflow through ReLux, whatever. And you have the option to have different groups for it. So just to have an example, what we want to put in the group. You can also here access not just the comments which are not on the ribbon. You can also go here to all tabs, and you can just copy erase tabs from existing tabs. For example, in Start we have something like not tools, edit, yeah, real-time rendering, for example. I want to have an own real-time rendering tab. I can do it here, and I don't know, aiming luminance is also needed in real-time rendering, and I don't know, you have a lot of options to choose from. There's also an all commands. If you're getting lost of all the single tabs, you can go to all commands, and here you found a lot of comments close to everything, every command you can find here, and put it into your own order. And after OK, you can see just an example. You have here your own tab, and here in group, just with real-time rendering and aiming, and whatever you like, you can add here in different groups and name it whatever you have. And so this is simple to do, and you cannot really mess up something, because if you here have something strange, you can just hit reset, and then you're getting the default situation again. And last point on my list is to show you also the keyboard shortcut options. You have found it also here, keyboard shortcuts. It's the same. And here you have the option to change the keyboard shortcuts directly. So for example, the command new has a keyboard shortcut with Control and N. And here you can do whatever you like in another shortcut, or you can add to something which has not a shortcut. For example, open from, you can say, okay, Control Shift O, whatever is not used, and then you have it directly within shortcuts. And here again, you have all commands here in this list, which you can allocate to any keyboard shortcuts, and with a nice description what this means. So for example, place new room, you can do on a keyboard shortcut and use it directly. And also here, if you messed up, you can reset it all, and then you get the default situation from the beginning. Yeah, and that's all what you can do, and this is a lot, and you can really customize your own command sets in keyboard shortcuts to be really fast on everything. Okay, your part, Klaus. Show us more.
Yeah. You are really much more fast than this morning.
Not really, just 2 minutes.
Okay, I will start to show you the possibilities of where's my mouse. First, I will close this project and start with a new one. Just also, I will choose a simple standard room. I will choose here an L-shaped room so that we have a little bit difference here. Mm-hmm. And when we're talking about settings in ReluxDesktop, the first point where I should start is here from the back page. This is this first beginning page where we have, and there we will find this possibility. You will find settings. These settings are mostly for the program and the project in general. So I will also try a little bit to speed up. We have here in the general, we have program settings. So there's some simple things like the maximum of the undo actions, the number of the undo actions. Also, we have here, this is a little bit interesting for sometimes when you have a trouble with the program. You will find here a folder where we store reports of the program. And sometimes it will be interesting when you communicate with our support. There you will find the crashing reports and so on. Here, if you miss this, normally in the beginning when you install the program, you will be guided through in steps through the installation. If you want a light or a dark theme in the program. You can later change this also here, and you can choose here also if you want to have tab working area windows. Also interesting here, we have a lot of this kind of message boxes which you can click on. Don't show this message again. But if you at any later point you want to see these messages again, you can press here reset, and then they will appear again until you will press do not show this message again. Okay, next point, we can here choose settings for the OpenGL. This is normally you should not change here something if you have crashes which are related to the graphic card. For example, if you are working in 3D and you have some unexpected crashes, you can switch here to the MESA, and if then the program runs stable, you can. In the most cases, it's a problem with the graphic card driver, and you can try to find a newer version and make an update. This tool section is a little bit something very special. I hopefully can show it a little bit later when we are working inside of the program. But now here, the next point is really interesting. You have here a lot of possibilities to change the colors which are used inside of the program. So this has nothing to do with the calculation results, force colors. It is really, for example, here, we can later see this, the C0 plane. I will also make here the reset because this was from tomorrow. So the standards you will have normally when you take a look to the LDCs in the program later, it is yellow and orange, or the grid is red. And if you want to change this, so for example, I will change this here to, to use our beautiful magenta color from ReLux, and I will later, when I place a luminaire, we will see the effect, and you will find here really a lot of colors, and if you prefer the other colors, you can change this.
Even the suspension of an suspended luminaire, you can change the color of this. So yeah, really a lot. But just the user interface.
Okay, here the next point is setting the units to US units, imperial units with feet and foot candela. Databases here, this is a little bit for if when you are a member of a manufacturer, which is a member in ReLux, you may have the problem that you want to have access to old databases or to variants of the standard database. You have here the possibility to add your own, to add local databases. Local means in that context that it is on your local network or on your local hard drive. And at least we have here the possibility to change the language of the program. Also, please realize that you have the possibility to switch the language separately for the user interface and for the output. For example, if you are generally working with English as for the user interface, but you want to print an output for example, for Italian or for Italy or something like that, you can switch just the output to Italian. Similar with the databases. So then the next main section is here the default values. Here is one in point, so many beginners or not everybody will know the effect here for this. For example, this exterior area gives you the possibility to change the thickness of the walls. I will do this here now. For example, I will change this to 0.6. And if I now close the dialog, you will see that now this walls here in the 2D calculation. This will normally not have an effect for indoor calculation, but for daylight calculation, let me insert a window.
So for indoor design, it's more like a decorative effect.
Yes, to look a little bit. And then when we switch, for example, here in this exterior, into the exterior view. So this is now our room from outside, which is how it will be used for daylight calculation. Also, if you want to test the effect, which is the light is coming out of the room, and you have also the possibility to place outside, then it may be an effect that you have here a deep in your walls, how thick your walls are.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, it is only possible to have one thickness of the wall globally for per room.
All rooms.
Yes. So let me switch this a little bit back. This a little bit. So doesn't matter. If you change here just, then you will just affect the active scene. If you save as default, it will be stored also for new projects. So the next point is also very interesting. Here you can set all the default materials. So this will only have effect on new walls, on new projects, on new scenes. So for example, if you prefer new rooms not with this standard gray, blue-gray color for the floors, you have the possibility here to change the color and the reflection degrees. Sorry, it's on the other screen. So we can here, for example, change if I prefer this for my room. So this will not have effect to my active room, but if I insert now a new scene, I know it will have effect to new projects. We will later see if I make a new project, we will see the effect. Okay, and also here we have the possibility, for example, to change also the material of luminaire housing, but this will only have effect to simple luminaires which are dropped by an IES file or by an LDT file. The 3D geometries which are prepared from the manufacturers will still have their own, and they come with material. This will not change the material of imported projects, of imported luminaires. Okay, in the section of the calculation, you will also find some historical stuff also inside of it. For example, we have here the height of the reference plane. This is the default, which is the reference plane will be placed in the room. But now we have also the nominal standards from the 12464, where you have sometimes, so the height is sometimes related to the profile you choose. For example, if you use a corridor or something like that, then the reference plane will be placed on the ground. And if you have an office or something like that, it will be placed in the various height.
Yeah. We added to the, so that the 12464 does not provide any heights of the reference plane. You have to select a reference plane which is actually in use. So you have to decide what is in use. But we put in our profiles of the 12464 and let's say in default reference plane height from our editorial group. So we say, okay, floor is ground floor, office is table desk floor, and in hospitals you have something like the height of the beds and so on. So this is something which you need to check, which you decide what is, but we have in default value down to the single situations of 12464. But it's not out of 12464, it's just from us to help you with the right heights. Also interesting here is the number of threads.
Yes, yeah. This is a little bit special because not everybody has this function, this possibility. Our calculation core is the standard radiosity calculation core is able to make multiprocessing, and so you will see here a number. It's related to your hardware, how many threads are possible. It's related to
your CPU, yeah.
To how many cores you have, and
how many threads the cores can support. So
yes,
good cores can have 2 threads, simple cores can have 1 thread, and Windows is allocating the threads to the CPU. And this means also this computer here we use has at the moment 12 threads. So I guess it's something like a 10 or 12 core CPU, and set it as high as possible. Yes. If you want to have a quick calculation, set it as high as possible. But if you have calculations just on the side and you want to do something else, you can go a bit down.
It may be helpful if you make multiple calculations parallel. So then it may helpful to limit it, for example, to a lower value. But this is a little bit kind of exotic. Here at least, okay, we have here the nominal values. This is also when you want to choose with what is the default standard in which you want to work. You can later also switch it, but it's much easier when you choose your preferred standard. Then it will all the time come with the standard and work.
One click less. Yeah.
Also, you have here the possibility. This option, the standard option, allows you, according to the new 12464, about choosing the illuminance level related to the profile you have chosen. And or if you say no, I want all the time the greatest value inside of it. It's a little bit discussable.
Yeah. You will be asked by any setting. You will be asked with an pop-up. I'm sure you have seen it in the past, but here is the option to set it once for all to the lower or to the upper value. If you select in the pop-up, never show me this again, then you can here switch between the two extremes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the most, these are these general settings we have here for the ReluxDesktop program for modifying your projects and also a little bit the hardware. And now I'll go to switch off this exterior. So we have our standard view. I will select now a luminaire so that we can make a short calculation. We'll make a very easy looks. It doesn't matter at the moment. And so the next important thing is to know that you can change your settings for the print outputs by using these properties. And this is related to which output you have actually opened. So in this moment, I have opened the overview page, and the overview page has impact from overview by itself, overview exterior and some things, ISO lines, floor plan, and print. And then as contrast, for example, if I choose here from the calculation results, let's say, for example, the tables, a table output. If I now here take a look to the properties, I will have only the table and the overview. Here, especially in the table, we have here, which has a impact for the print output, and is very often there's a request, how can I change this? Here is the place where you can say what kind of rounding you want to see. So you can choose this, for example, with 2 decimal places. And a little bit important is to know that we have to make it separated for the table by itself and for the result overview. This is here, the small part here, and here we can change this separately.
So it's possible to orientate and to change the scale and so on. So a lot of details to tweak your tables.
Yes, you will find in all these outputs what means the print outputs. Even so, we can say here, when we take a look to the floor. When we take a look to this floor overview, for example, because this is also often asked, where can I change the size of the font of my descriptions? And if you change this here, I make something extreme now, then you will see here, you can take impact of the size of the letters in the ground floor. Or also, if you don't want to see it, you can switch it here off separately, and I make it a little bit smaller now for the luminaires, and now only the luminaires will be with these letters.
And this is also an effect of the printout. So if you're going to print the stuff, it has the effect also on this.
You can also, when we go to the print manager, we will also see here. Let me open the ground floor again. No, where is it here? Is it? Not the tables. I want to see the
result overview, the ground floor floor plan.
The classical floor plan. You will also see here the settings we have shown before. And you have also, if you are still in the print manager, you have the possibility to change the properties here in the print manager. Okay, then I promised you about this tool. This is also a little bit interesting. Let me break the group. We have this tool function, which I've shown in the beginning before, that allows you, this is sometimes very helpful, that you have the possibility here in the settings. This was these tools that you can, for moving objects, execute after placing or after moving. This will have now this effect. If I'm moving my luminaire and I click now, I will actually have the possibility with a second click to make a rotation to the luminaire.
Scripting.
Yes, that's a little bit. It's a little bit hidden, and maybe it should be a little bit optimized. But however, for example, in many projects, you have sometimes the question about this. There is also still a little. Let me show you this feature. It's a little bit hidden. You have the possibility, if you are in the moving luminaires around, doesn't matter, and click now, it is placed, it is still selected, and now you cannot see it at the moment. I'm simply pressing the key A. I'm also go to this functionality, so that with one simple pressing on my keyboard, I can very simple make a positioning, a moving, and a rotating in a very, very simple way. Mm-hmm. Okay, then at least I want to show you, we have advanced settings here in the kind of calculation. When we go here to the calculation manager, and I guess in the most cases this is not necessary to go to this extent functionality of the calculation. Sometimes it may be helpful to do this.
Yeah. Be aware with the flux factor. Flux factor is like the maintenance factor. It's going fully as a factor into the calculation. Yep. So don't mess this up. And if you do not put a reason into it, because this is really a heavy impact. Also, you have here the raster spacing. This is something for the indirect part. How many patches of indirect parts you have in calculation. The many, the better in general, but the manner you have more calculation time for this. We have a dynamic active raster, which is quite good and makes a job to help you to identify more hot areas in indirect and more weak areas, and makes it dynamic, the spacing, and not just equal. If you have once issues with, let's say, an illuminance viewing issue, that you don't see the light on the wall, or it's too clumsy or too not precise enough, then you can switch here the raster spacing to something low, and then you have a better visual effect on the calculation and also more values of the indirect part.
A classical problem is when we have real large scenes, for example, industry halls, sports halls, but you want inside of these halls have small details or something like that, or for example luminaires with a very narrow beam direction or something like that. Then it may be helpful to reduce here the size of this raster spacing manually, because this is related to the size of the scene, and as I told, sometimes it may be helpful to decrease this a little bit.
Yeah. And there's also one additional, even more deeper setting. You need to activate it with options, and you get a note that you should read. And if you proceed,
it has really to know what you are doing.
So, and
then here you have this button, and here in this button, here you will find some really deep settings inside to manipulate or have an effect to the calculation. So one of them really useful thing is here, for example, the luminaire subdivision. This is how fine
if you have a linear luminaire, longer luminaire. So what we do in order to provide you a good impression of the light output, we separate the linear luminaire in smaller pieces and put and part of the energy in single LDCs to it. The more, the better is the visual impression, especially if you put a linear luminaire straight to a wall, that you not see a spot on the wall, because we have in far field measuring and all of that. the separation helps you, subdivision helps you to have an impression on the wall of the luminaire which looks like a linear luminaire. And it's physical correct because we're using the same amount of energy that's split in different, more tiny LDCs. So
this is one of the real important things, and what makes often the difference between a good light calculation program for calculation reasons like RELUX it is, and for example some of the renderers which are included in some of the CAD systems or something like that, because they typically do not take care about such things.
Yeah, there's something special here. You can set how much it should be, and the higher you set this value, for example, the more calculation time we also need for this. But it's not just, you have a lot of daylight options, clustering options, and even done some grid options. You cannot really mess up the calculation, and you can also not really cheat in calculation that you always get instantly 500 lux on everything you need. This is something more for the advanced users. If you have a special thing you want to illustrate, to show, to make it more present, or if you have a visual request, then you can put here a lot of energy and try to tweak the result, but in a tiny aspect. So not really revolutionary. You cannot change the application completely, but here are some nice options for users who knows what they are doing.
Yeah.
We have some similar on the ray tracing.
Yes, we have some similar on the ray tracing. Here it is much often useful or needful to take a point here. So if you make, I was a little bit fast, if we go to the ray tracing calculation, or if we activate the ray tracing calculation, and we go here to the radiance parameter, and here we can also set a lot of really helpful or needful settings, especially for ray tracing, and especially when you want to make some analyzing stuff with the ray tracing, for example, like with special materials like Milky Glass or daylight systems, reflections.
So you can really calculate the effect of an reflection of a material. You can really see after the reflection what you have in results in lux on the wall or whatever. And for this, yeah, you can use the ray tracing. And if you use it, I'm sure sooner or later you go into this expert mode to tweak or to have the effect what you want to illustrate.
Yeah. Okay, and then last not least, let me show you. We are storing the most of our settings in a classical Windows style in the ini file, and in the past we also often give you a cheat code to write it into the ini file, which is still working. So if anybody of you knows what to write in or to manipulate the ini file, everything will work, will still work. But we have now also started to use, this is also a little bit a hidden command. You have to press Control, Shift, and 5, and then you will have this ini manager. And there you will also find a list of settings. Many of them are related for tunnel calculation, so this is just a smaller part of our users. And also for street calculation, you have here some possibilities, or some street settings which are useful for things. But still there are some here in the upper part, and I will show you the this most helpful, and which is sometimes really good to know, is this paste with offset. Typically by default this is placed with yes, and this has the following effect. If I place here, for example, a cube, and I will place it directly here in the edge of my standard L room, and we can take a look. Now let's hide this evaluation area. So this is now placed here. If I now want to copy this into a new project, I will start a new instance of ReLux. Moment, please.
So copy with offset means you have an offset by pasting it.
So, and I will now create similar, the same standard L room.
Now look at the floor, it's now orange.
Now, yes, okay, we have changed the setting, this default for the floor, and now it is changed to this orange or brown. And I'm now in the same, and if I want now to paste this cube, it will be a little bit have here this offset.
With intent, because it's nice to know, okay, is this is a copy of it? It's not in the same position, that you have a bit of an offset, that you can identify, okay, I've copied in other stuff. You find it in also in other applications.
Yeah, it's a little bit. And if I delete this now and I change it, Control-Shift-5, and I switch paste with offset no.
Now it gets exactly the same coordinates.
And if I paste it again now, it will now on the same position as I have copied it from my original file here.
Yeah.
So this is sometimes if you are working with copy and paste from one project into another, or even in the same project.
On the same location.
On the same location, it may be helpful. For example, if you paste, if they are on different levels, for example, but they should be in the same position, then it will be very helpful to know that there you can change the behavior of the.
But please mind, if you have not activated this offset, if you have without the offset, and if you copy and paste the lumina, and if you hit Control and V again and again and again, you have a lot of luminas on the same position, and you cannot see it in the.
You will see it here. I paste now. I have now 8 cubes, and it will. I will not see them because they are now all lying on the same position. So there you must be a little bit. You must a little bit.
On the cube, it's not so important, but if you have luminas, we really double and multiplicate the luminous flux. This is maybe a cheat code. If you need more lux, just copy on the same location, the same lumina.
Yeah. There is a warning with the checkout that the program checks this and gives you the information. Oh, there is a conflict, but you can ignore this, and so
you can. There's also a setting for skip the collision test,
and you can also there's also setting to skip the collision. Okay, so now I'm a little bit faster than this morning. We're still out of time. We have a little bit of time to take a look to
the questions.
Give me a second, please.
And there are some questions indicated by go to meeting sign.
So we want to.
Is it possible to save the personalized toolbars for import on another new PC? Good question.
Yes, it is possible, but at the moment there is missing a good handleable feature.
Is it an XML file or?
No, it's stored in the registry.
Ooh, okay.
You have to.
But this is copy. You can copy the registry parts.
You can export. You can export the key and re-import the key on another machine. So this is not. So this is. It is possible. It is possible, but we should prepare this.
Also for the keyboard shortcuts.
Yes, then everything then will be stored. If anybody of you has a request for this, please send us an email for support@relux.com, and we will send you a short explanation how you can do this.
Will we get a recording of the webinar? Always the same question. Yes, it's on YouTube and on our website relux.com/relux. All the episodes. Is there any option to reference grids, flexible reference grids, not a fixed one? Yes, grids also. We wanted also to show a lot of grid options.
Yes,
if we had more time.
Yes, but this was, I guess, we have already made a fun with ReLux with grids.
With grids? Yeah, we have a fun. Yeah, good reference. There's an episode about griddings. But it's not possible to move the grid points freely. You are bound to some kind of grid.
Yep.
It's not possible to make free arrangements of points. Of course, you can free arrangement points, but then not in a grid. Then you have single points.
You have single points. You can make multiple points, put them together into a grid. But on a surface,
maybe you can group points.
Yes, you can group
points. You can do single points and group it.
You can group it. You can also the field. You can also use the field functionality to make a simple. But the grids, the grid points, there is a little bit of this a problem sometimes. We are using in the most standards. We are using this formula, which is called mostly Stockman formula.
Well, logarithmical.
So a logarithmical formula, which is described in the standard. This is the default for the most situations. I agree with you that sometimes it may be helpful to have there also some other options for this.
Yeah, for sports especially.
For sports, there we will need to do this, and at the moment for the tools we are working on, obtrusive light, we also need a little bit more flexibility. We are working on this.
Yeah, putting dimensions it's in. Many users encounter blue screen crashes when having Enscape rendering on the second screen. It happens quite frequently and requires a reset of the machine. Can it be fixed, please? Yeah, good point. You have to keep in mind Enscape is something which takes a lot of graphical power. We have seen something, for example, some funny effects like the computer not just get a blue screen, the computer even getting out of work complete. So you have to restart it, but it's getting out of service, cause some power supply. So if you have a graphic card and not a power supply unit, then it just gets too much energy out and the computer just switches off. So mainly check your hardware. If you have a graphics card, there is a system requirement sheet on the internet which is updated for Enscape. We have a higher graphic cards demand on Enscape, and also blue screen also sounds for a driver conflict on Enscape. So you have to have a proper graphic card and latest driver. This helps a lot on getting away of such issues, especially hardware related blue screens or something like this. And this is really demanding software, this Enscape stuff. And also you can also investigate on Enscape websites for support on this. There are also some additional information on how to set up your graphics environments and so on. So this is compatible of our situation.
Okay, next. When changed to imperial units, can lux level pseudo colors change to rounded foot can please rather? Okay, we have to take a look what I guess it will be. That's a little bit a problem. Settings? Yeah, the problem is a little bit we are using actually for the Lux scale, which is related to the standard, and from 300 and 500 and so on. If you now transfer this to a foot candela, you will get any, I don't know what 500 lux is in foot candela, but you will get 6.5 dot 35 something.
It's not metric anymore.
This is
yeah. It's just maybe we need to set some good defaults for this in the application.
At the moment, this
you can do it manually. So it's
you can do it manually, but this is a lot of
store your manual work. You can store it for yourself, but yeah, this is something we should investigate into some better positions for the colors in the imperial units.
This is also a problem where we have a little bit trouble with using, for example, a program like this, the road module, where we are using the lighting classes from the CE 140 / the EN 30201, which is related to lux, and there we have, for example, a 10 lux or something like that, and we cannot simply change this in foot candela which have a realistic value which is typically used in the countries who are using imperial limits. Then there was is it possible to export a result overview of just one plane to Excel? It is possible, but in this case please send us an Excel sheet how you think it should look like, and then we will see if we can implement it. I guess we can implement it, but we need to.
You can right click.
You can right click
on tables.
You can right click. You can export tables, but you cannot export a summary.
The
result summary in an export format. This is really at the moment.
The result hub would be nice to have in an Excel. The complete result hub.
For example, that we can think about it to make this in there. So we will put this on the feature list.
So, one last question, because we're running out of time, and there are too many questions. Maybe something, I don't know, how to export the contours of horizontal illuminances as ISO lines, not the Cydo colors. You want to export the ISO lines as line. This is interesting.
However, it works a little bit. You can export this to DVG file, And in the DVG file, you then will have you can export the ISO lines to DVG or to DXF, and then you will inside of the DVD GXF you will have polylines which are representing the ISO lines.
It's also possible with recut, I guess. Recuts are also ISO lines as coordinates array.
Yes, have we implemented this?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay,
I'm not sure if it's.
I guess then I have done it, but I forgot that I have done it. Sorry.
But this is quite technical. You can with an recut export, so export recut. There's an XML node where you have at least the coordinates of the ISO lines. I'm not sure of all the ISO lines, and maybe not on all the planes. It's a bit of limited, but just coordinates. So it's not, depends on what kind of format you need for. It's not a picture or an SVG or something. We have technical formats, so arrays or CAD stuff. But you can convert it in a way. But you need kind of skills.
Yes, it will be a vector format. Okay, we see there is a lot of more questions, but sorry that we haven't
long questions. Potentially good questions.
Potentially good questions, but a little bit difficult to explain here at the moment.
Hello from Las Vegas. Yeah. Hello back to the States.
Okay.
How to put luminars in a fixture in vertical position on the soft ceiling? Yeah, rotated. Control R. Yeah, there's not sticking to the wall. Depending on the luminar, some luminars are stick to the walls, but if it's a horizontal luminar, you need to rotate it by yourself. Okay, and we are out of time.
Yep. So for all the other questions, some of you writing here questions which are still useful for our support. So please send us directly these questions to our support, and
support@relux.com.
We will give you more detailed answers.
Yeah. Okay. Then,
okay, thank you.
Announcement. Next episode is on the 25th of April, so in 1 month, also Thursday, same time slots. And the next episode is about accuracy of calculation, how accurate, how precisely is our calculation, and how we can prove this and how we measure this, and all about the calculation core, a bit more nerdy enlightening calculations. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Nice day.
Hope to see you next time again. Bye.
See you.